I just want to dedicate this shiur for the Refuah Shalema of Harav Ro'i Yair ben Chagit. Should have a complete refuah. His community needs him. Am Yisrael needs him fully healthy. So he should have a very fast refuah Shalema. Should never know of any more trouble. I just want to point out it's a kol bayasara shchinte sharya. It says every time there's 10 people, 10 Yidden, the Shekhinah is here. So now more than ever, really all those who need a refuah shalema should have a refuah shalema because of the schus of this learning. Please say the name.
Ruben Feinstein. I think it's
Okay.
Shalom ben
Shema.
Okay. Should have a refuah shalema. Besach shar klal Yisrael. Okay. So page 12 on the second. So we're just going to go over real quick what's going on over here in Perek Beis. Nefesh Hashinis BeYisrael. Yichelek Elokayim Imal Mamish. The Alter Rebbe starts that the second neshama of a Yid is literally part of God. So we explained last week what does that mean, literally part of God. As we see as everything really, Einoid Milvadoi, as explained, everything really is from Hashem. So, yes.
We always say that Hashem is Echad and He's non-divisible.
Very good.
So how can we be part of Him if He's undivided?
Very good question. Very good question, right? So the question is, what he's asking is, how can you say that we are part of Hashem if Hashem doesn't have any parts? Hashem is one. Is that what you're asking? So everything that we say, Einoid Milvadoi, everything that you see is Hashem. There's no such a thing that you see in this world with this seltzer. Everything is Hashem, is Elokus. However, when we say, get close, have you heard this term? Oh, this guy is close to Hashem. Or sometimes you feel close to Hashem. What does that mean? You feel close to Hashem. Hashem is everywhere. It's all on the perspective of the other side. Meaning, for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, obviously He gives life to everything. If not for Him, everything is non-existent. It's yesh miyayin every moment. Okay? But when you're talking about creation of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, He made things, created beings, as it should seem, perceive for themselves as exterior, as they are for themselves. There is no expression of Elokus when we're talking about the creation of Kadosh Baruch Hu, when He said that the world should be created. Ba'asara ma'amaros nivra ha'olam. Vayomer Elokim. What is that? Yehi or. What does that represent when we say HaKadosh Baruch Hu said, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke? What does that mean, HaKadosh Baruch Hu spoke, HaKadosh Baruch Hu speaks? It represents that it was an exterior creation, meaning a creation that it should perceive itself as it's for its own. This cup seems like it's for its own. The whole world seems like it's separate. It has nothing to do with that.
It seems like it.
That it seems like it from this point of view, but from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's point of view, obviously there is nothing that's outside of Him. There's no such a thing that He fills up a space. The space is in Him. Time and place is a creation that He created. But when we say that Nefesh Hashenis BeYisrael, we're talking about the part of the neshama of a Yid, which is the only thing in the whole world, in everything, even in the worlds, in the Ruchnisdige worlds, even in the Malachim. Yes, they know godliness. Oh, Chaim. They know godliness. But that's the point. They know. It's them. They're the Malachim. And they understand godliness. When you're talking about our neshama is part of Hashem, that means it doesn't just know. It's not a creation. It's part of Him. As we explained last week, that there was a little bit of trouble before the Arizal came. As we know, the Arizal's Torah is all taught from Ruach HaKodesh. One of the things actually, I think, was brought down that he was Zoiche to get such, he was merited to have such a tremendous learning with Kabbalah. Anyway, continuing with this. So what does that mean? That our neshama is part of Hashem literally. We gave the analogy, in Chassidus is very busy, in Kabbalah is very much mentioned the word Or Ein Sof, the infinite light, the never-ending light. And we gave the analogy with the sun. The sun is the sun. When it shines, a ray, tomorrow morning, we'll see the ray of the sun, and it's going to be light. No one walks around saying, the ray of the sun, the light, is separated from the sun. Everyone knows that the ray of the sun is part of the sun. It's literally part of the sun. So, but it's not the sun itself, right? But what does it represent? What does it represent? The light doesn't represent itself. No one thinks about, no one's talking about, oh, look at the sun. The sun. I mean, when people say, look at the sun, say, look at the sun. You actually look at the sun. It says, the light of the sun. It expresses nothing of, it's me, I'm here, but I'm doing something by myself. No, it has a bittul, it's a nullification for the sun. It's part of the sun. So is also our neshama, our nefesh elikis. It's literally part of HaKadosh Baruch. It represents elikus. It has no self-pleasure. Even as we said, the nefesh habahamis could have good midos. Yeah, it could have good midos. But there's a little satisfaction over there for themselves. The nefesh elikis does not have that. What does it represent? Represents eloikus. And before the Arizal, that's what we were in the middle of saying, before the Arizal revealed this, and all his teachings, as we know, is from Ruach HaKodesh, the philosophers and the Chachamim, the Rishonim, they had a problem with this, because there's two categories. There's category of Kadosh Baruch Hu, Elikim, and then there's a category of creation. So there's God, and there's a creation. As again, not that from his side of view, not from his point of view, not from a Kadosh Baruch Hu point of view, from the point of view of created beings, right? That there's a creation, and it's like they didn't understand what the neshama is. What is the neshama? If you have the world and everything in the world is a creation, and you have God, where is the neshama fall into place? So the Rambam is trying to say that it's intellect, it's a seichel.
It doesn't say created the neshama. It says created a person.
Created a person. Now, and we're going to talk about this because we're going to break down chapter 2 to where we're up to, and part of it has to do with how he created the person. So the Arizal said, right, there's a third category. So there is God, there is creation, and then there is godliness. There is Eloikai, and there is Eloikus. Have you heard about the word Eloikus? What's Eloikus? Godliness. Remember the analogy we just said about the sun and the ray of the sun. The ray of the sun isn't the sun. It's not the, what did I mean? We all God? No, of course not. There's only one Hashem. But what does that mean? It's godliness. The ray of the sun is part of the sun, but it's not the sun. It represents the sun. That's all it does. It shines and represents the sun. That's our chelek, a nefesh hashenis beYisrael, chelek elekai mimal mamash. It's literally representing godliness. That's all it does. Nullification. That is the third category. And then we said that in the creation of the world, Hashem created the world. As we know, you open up Chumash Bereshis, it says, Vayomer Elokim, Vayomer Hashem spoke, and that's a sign of a chitzonius, an external, so to speak, external part of Hashem. So he created everything that it should perceive itself as external. But then when it comes to the man, Adam Rishon, what does it say? Vayipach be'apav. It doesn't say Vayomer Elokim Yehi Adam. Why doesn't it say Vayomer Elokim Yehi Adam? Vayomer Elokim Yehi. Everything is Asara Ma'amaris. But it comes to the man, Adam Rishon, and as we discussed before, there's no question about Adam Rishon was Jewish. So wait a second, what are you saying? Because that was before Chetz Etzadas, and before it was Chetz Etzadas, that means it's okay because it had nefesh. Yeah, there was nefesh Elokim. Only after Chetz Etzadas, the nefesh Abraham started coming in, and that's where everything else is being created from the speech. Everything in the world, in this world, and in the Ruchnisdige worlds, in the spiritual worlds, everything is a creation from an external part, from Hashem speaking. The only thing is, Vayipach be'apav, a sign that it's coming from the very inside, is the neshama. The nefesh elikis. And now we also know the big difference that somebody could speak for hours and not get so tired, and then someone could blow. And as we say, we're going to blow a few balloons. And how many balloons can we blow already until we get very tired? I don't know. Yeah, a couple of balloons. That's one analogy. The next one, the Alter Rebbe brought down the pasuk in Chumash. It says, "Banim atem Lashem Elokeichem." You are my children. That's what Hashem says. So what does that mean? You are my children. So I say, oh, Hashem loves us like our children, like we love our children. Okay, that's true. But there's an inner meaning. It's just anything in Chassidus and in Kabbalah. There's an inner meaning for this. Banim atem Lashem Elokeichem. The Alter Rebbe said that the whole DNA of a person. Where does it all start? Where do we all start from our father? It's called, Adam Rishon, but let's just go like very close to us now. Our children, I'm not, when I said where we all start, I don't mean to say like, oh, going back to many generations ago. I'm talking about like our life. Yeah, this life, our life. It's called Tipas Moyach Ha'av. Very good. Abba ve'ima. Tipas Moyach Ha'av. It all starts from the Moyach. There's one drop, and it's there for 9 months, and it develops into a human being. The person, the child, is he still part of the father? Of course he is. He's one entity with the father. The tipas moyach ha'av is in the child, right? So he says, the pasuk that says, Bani matem Lashem Elokeichem, B'ni b'choyri Yisrael, why? It's not stam. Okay, yeah, Hashem loves us like children. It's part of Hashem. That's the analogy that the Torah is trying to tell us. That the tipa, just like a human being is born from the tipa, and it's in the child. It's the same thing. We have part of Elikus. Your answer is answered. Your question is answered, right? Okay. By the way, make yourself comfortable. You can take off your jackets if you want. No, whatever you guys want to do. Pass the popcorn, whatever. So now, that's where we were discussing last week. And the Alter Rebbe also brought down the Rambam. The Rambam says, what do you need? Popcorn. So the Rambam saying, we had in the Rambam saying that the Rambam explains obviously that we are nowhere close that we can say, oh, look at the human being, look at the Kadosh Baruch Hu. We have 3 components that makes us better understand things. We have, the Rambam said that HaKadosh Baruch Hu is Hamada, Yodea, V'Yodua. That's what the Rambam writes. Hu Hamada, Hu Yodea, V'Yodua. Which means, Mada is the intellect. What does that mean, intellect? That means we are as people, we have our intellect help us understand what's happening. So we have us as the person, and we have our intellect, Madas. So we have the Yodea is the person, Amada is the intellect, and then the Yodua is the subject or the Mishnah, or whatever you want to learn, whatever you want to do. There's a subject, there is you, and there's your intellect. The Rambam explains that by HaKadosh Baruch Hu, because the Alter Rebbe says, Yisrael Allah b'machshava. Yisrael Allah b'machshava. That Keviyachol, in HaKadosh Baruch Hu's mind, the Yidden came up to him in his mind. But the Rambam explains that for HaKadosh Baruch Hu, it's all one. Right? Like Eli said, there was no separation. And it's very hard to understand. We can't understand this. And he said that. The Rambam says, no person can understand this. What do I mean? The Eibishter is one with his intellect, and he's one with the subject, and he's one with himself. It's all one. It's all his creation, really. It's all one. So we are one with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. The Maharal, right? The Maharal said, what did the Maharal say? The Maharal said, no, you can't give Hashem any type of description. Very good. Yeah. Okay. So in the little note, the Alter Rebbe explained that this is not a problem because when we're talking about, everyone is familiar with the 4 worlds, the 4 spiritual worlds, Atzilus, Beriya, Yetzira, Asiya. Just to go over this real quick, there's 4 worlds, 4 spiritual worlds. As we said, it's not a place that you think you're gonna find it. It's not a physical place. What does that mean? Olam Atzilus, Olam Beriya, Olam Yitzira, Olam Asiya. What does that mean? Atzilus is like Etzel. It's next to. It's like the closest to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Again, going back to what we mean to say, it's close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It just means that the person is nullified to Hashem in a way that he doesn't perceive himself as he's for himself. This is tzaddikim. Tzaddikim, as you know them, they don't live for themselves, so to speak, right? They're always see Elokus. They're always bottled. They're always nullified to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what means when someone say he's close to Hashem. Hashem is everywhere. What does that mean he's close to Hashem? I'm also close to Hashem. Hashem is right here, right? Right. But the idea is that we see ourselves as ourselves separated. Then there's the Olam Abriya, which is a little next level, which is called the world of creation. Olam Yetzira is the world of formation. Then we have the Olam Abriya, which is a world of creation, which is, what does that mean? World of creation. Again, it's starting to create something, but it's still pretty close to godliness, but it doesn't perceive itself as it is by itself, separated. Then there's Olam Yetzira, formation, starting to form. Then there's Olam Asiya, and in Olam Asiya there's two. There is the spiritual Olam Asiya, which is the world of action, and then there's the physical. This is the world of Asiya, the physical world of action. It went down. The energy, so to speak, of HaKadosh Baruch Hu filtered down. It's called tzimtzumim. Whoever is familiar with this is called Seder HaIshtalshelus. Why is it Seder HaIshtalshelus? Ishtalshelus is like a chain link to another. One link is linked to the other. The very bottom one is still connected to the very top. So the light of the energy of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, his force, was basically going down from world to world to world, so to speak, until that a physical form could be created, which is this, to perceive itself as it's for its own. But that's the whole purpose of creation from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's what he wanted. He wanted lasis lo dira b'tachtonim, that we should be able to uncover that and see Elokus everywhere. So that's what we learned last week. Then there was a question. The question is this. So if the Alter Rebbe is saying that all the neshamas come from, so to speak, Chachma Ilah, which is Chachma Da'atzilus, which is the highest level basically in the Seder HaIshtalshelus, which we all say is coming from HaKadosh Baruch Hu's Chachma, so to speak, then how come we see different levels of neshamas? We for sure know that all the Nevi'im and Moshe Rabbeinu had a very high neshamas. And even a generation in the desert, in the Midbar, it's called a Dardeya, there were very high neshamas. So, and not only the generations were higher, even in this generation, which is called Ikvus de Mashiach, Ikvus de Akavayim, it's the very bottom of, meaning it's the footsteps of Mashiach, that's why it's called Ikvus. We are the generation of Ikvus de Mashiach, because it's Akavayim. So in this generation itself, we still see that there are high neshamas, because you have tzaddikim, you have rebbes, you know this, everyone knows this, that in our generation there is a tzaddik, right? There's a gadol, adar. There's a tzaddik. So it's not. How can you say it's equal? So the Alter Rebbe is going to say, he's going back to the analogy of the child and the father, because it's so real, and the answer is going to be this. The answer is going to be that think about the child and the father. The child, his DNA is where in his entire body is part of the father. His toenail is part of the father. Yes, the bottom, the lowest level. Tzipornei raglav. His toenail is part of the father DNA. Where was the toenail getting life from, and what's the most similar, the most identical, and the most closest part to the father? Because it all starts in Tipas Moyach Av. It starts with the drop from the father's brain. So the brain of the child will be the nearest similar identity of the father. So how does the nail come into place? Yes, it's the DNA of the father. How did it come? How did it come into place? The nail. You know how it came to place? It was 9 months in the mother's womb, right? Everybody knows this. because it created into a whole human being. How does the nail get life to keep growing? And the nail is healthy. This is biology. I mean, if you look it up, you'll see there is nerve sense. What's it called? The senses of the nerves is in the brain. Everyone knows this. The brain. If Chaz v'Shalom, someone's brain is no good, the nails are not good either. Nothing is good. Yeah. So the Alter Rebbe is going to bring proof also from Nigla and Nister, Kabbalah, and also Torah Sheba Nigla. Now, going back to the analogy, let's just say we are the nails, right? The nails of the very lowest level versus the moyach. What's the difference between a nail and the moach? The big difference, right? The moach can understand, it's intellect, everything. But it's all one entity from the Father. It's all one. The nail had to go through the process for 9 months, whatever it had to go through, and there's a nail, right? Same thing is with the neshamas. The Alter Rebbe says the same thing. It all starts from the same tipus moyach ha'av. It all starts from the same place. The same Mekar is in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, same place. However, how do you have a neshama that's like a toenail, and then you have a neshama that's like a rosh? It's Rosh B'nai Yisrael, because it went down. The neshama goes down. These 4 worlds that we just explained. Abiyah, Atzilus, Beriya, Tziyah, and it was affected by it. And with that, it filtered through and it became what it is, a lower level of neshama.
Yeah,
but it still starts. What?
No, but you said it goes down, but what goes down for
Yeah, 4 worlds.
But still, some are like toenails and some are like tzaddikim. Why?
Oh, what do you mean someone's toenails or someone
It
like
should all
tzaddikim?
be like high level or low level. Why? How come it's some people high neshama? We all go through the same thing. All the neshamas go through the same thing.
No, tzaddikim neshamas.
They don't go through
They
that.
don't. We all start from Chachma Da'atzilus.
Okay.
We all start from Da'atzilus. So think about it like a light, a powerful light. If you have a powerful light, and you put a bunch of curtains, at this point the light is still shining. The light is still here. The source of the light.
Some neshamas are here. Some neshamas are there. That's the thing.
The source of the neshama. What I'm trying to say, the source of the neshama is the same. Is in the same place.
Okay.
It's in Chachma Ilah. It's the highest place. But then when it goes down, it filters through until it becomes the lowest neshama. But a tzaddik has a neshama from the same place without filtering through or without affecting him, and he has neshama beguf from the olam ha'atzilus. He lives. It's called the neshama da'atzilus. But the idea is that all of us call from the same source. It's the same.
We can also go back to the same source.
We're connected. We don't go back. We're connected. We're one entity. There is no going back. That's what I said. When you say everything is created, what do you mean? What do you mean nefesh hashenis b'Yisrael? What do you mean the second neshama of a yid is part of it? Everything is part of Hashem. Everything is a creation of Hashem. The neshama is part of Hashem. There's a difference. It's part of Hashem. The nail says, how do you connect the toenail to the Father? What do you mean? How do you connect the toenail to the Father? It's part of the Father. That's the whole idea where he's going with this. The whole idea is that it's not fake. He says it's real. It's not like, oh, it's a guzma. It's not. It's mamash. He says this is exactly how every Yiddish neshama has, and nothing else in this world, not even malachim, not even the worlds of Ruchnis world, nothing is compared to this. This is literally Chelek Lokis. It's Elokus. It's Chelek Elokim.
Everything he
Yatzar with speaking. Nafach. Very good. Exactly. That's what I'm saying. Exactly. That's exactly what we're learning. So now, going back to the analogy, now you have a nail. The nail in the neshama world right now is still part of Hashem? Yes. Just like the head is? Yes. What's the difference? They're both the DNA. What's the difference? The difference is this. The difference is the nail doesn't know that he's part of Hashem. so to speak. He doesn't have the mind, right? Doesn't have the mindset. It's very low. It's not a mind. A mind could think, could understand things. Yep. So the mind, as we said before, gives life to the nail. The mind, which is Rosh B'nai Yisrael the Tzaddik, gives life to the nail neshamas, us, to connect us with, to basically not to say, again, don't get confused. It's still the same DNA. It's still part of Hashem, but it's to make it aware, to connect you with HaKadosh Baruch Hu. To connect you, meaning in a way that to make yourself, to know who you are as yourself, because who are we? We are part of Hashem. So the tzaddik, the Rosh B'nai Yisrael, just like in the biology, in the analogy that he gave, that a father and a son, physically, the brain gives the life to the nail. It's the same thing. The tzaddik, the Rosh B'nai Yisrael, gives life to the neshamas, which are nails, and connect them to its source, connect them to it is who they are. What is the Rosh Hashanah of Rebbe, Rosh B'nai Yisrael? This isn't something new. This is something the Gemara says, Darash the Pinchas Bar Chama, it says if somebody kol sheyesh lo choyle bebeisoi yelech etzel chacham. Have you heard this before? It's a very known famous Gemara. The Gemara says whoever has le'aleinu, someone who is not well, you should go to a chacham, right? The Chasam Sofer wasn't a chassid, right? Although he was very much a fan, I think, of Hasidus, and I think he mentions the Tanya also. The Chasam Sofer was a Talmud of Reb Nosson Adler. Reb Nosson Adler was a Talmud of Rabbi Horowitz, Pinchas Horowitz, which was a Talmud of the Maggid. So it's not too far from Hasidus. Chasam Sofer asks on this, in Shalos Tshuvos, one of his Tshuvos is about the Gemara. He says, I don't understand. Why do I have to go to a Chacham? If somebody has a choyle bebeisoi, why do I have to go to the tzaddik? Yeah, I'm a yid, and I have a Kadosh Baruch Hu. We're davening to Hashem, but I have to go to a tzaddik, to a chacham, So he says basically what we said here. He explains that first of all, what does that teach us? He explains that we're all, the whole Am Yisrael is all one guf, so to speak, is all one. You have the Rosh. You have Einei Oeda, you have the eyes of and then you have the Tzipor Niraglav. And then, so he says, you're part of this, you all one, Am Yisrael is all one, like one body. So imagine this person, he needs to go to the king, he needs to ask for Rachamim, as the Gemara says, Rachamim, Vakesh olav Rachamim, on this person that's not well, or whatever this. So imagine the person goes to the king, and because his neshama is of a lower level neshama, and he's like to say he's going to talk like this with his hands, like this. Instead, he can take his head and tell his head to talk, tell the mouth to speak. You understand what I'm trying to say? Everybody's like, look at me, like I fell from the moon. You understand what he's trying to say? He says like this. He says, Am Yisrael is one, koima achas, right? The head and the toe, the heads are the chacham, as he says, as the Gemara says, yelech lechacham. So he says, yes, of course you can go to a Kadosh Baruch Hu to daven directly, but wouldn't you rather have the mouth, the head speak to the king rather than your foot or your hand talk? So that's why you're going.
It's like going to a judge and hire a lawyer. You can talk to the judge.
Oh yeah, talk to the judge. Good analogy. Okay, this is more than a lawyer. This is the Rosh B'nai Yisrael. His neshama is for that. It's connecting you to yourself, to your true who you are. That's why. So this is very, very different than saying. This is very, very different than saying, I know this big Rav and this big Talmid Chacham. You know how they say every Rebbe knows Shas, but not everyone that knows Shas could be a Rebbe. You know, every Rebbe knows Shas, but not everybody that knows Shas could be a Rebbe, which is true. So you have this big Rav, and you have this. He's more knowledgeable than us. He's more whatever. And he knows all Kol HaTorah Kula, and he'll tell you answers if you ask him. He'll ask him a question about, I don't know, whatever you have. Yisur v'heter, tumah v'tahara. The sukkah is kosher, the sukkah is not kosher. He's going to answer. He knows this. However, there is also a Rosh B'nai Yisrael, the connection that you feel it, that you know this is the one connecting me to my source, to my nefesh Hashenis B'Yisrael, whatever that is. Everybody could, everyone could have their own, but there is a tzaddik in every generation. Okay, so let's see all this inside. We are on page 12, 6 lines from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 lines from the top. Mikol, the last word of that line, Mikol. Mikol Makom. Mikol Makom. See Mikol Makom? The very last word. So Mikol Makom, Sharish, Kol HaNefesh, Ruach v'Neshama Kulam. This is the answer. How are they not equal? He says, because, now, Mikol Makom, still, you have all the source of Nefesh, Ruach v'Neshama. The 3 levels of Neshama. Kulam roish kol hamadregos, from the high levels at sof kol dargin to the lowest level. Hamalubash beguf amayaretz, which is enclosed, this neshama, which is enclosed in the amayaretz over here, doesn't have to necessarily mean to say, like we know, amayaretz. It doesn't know anything. Amayaretz means the amayaretz, the general public, right? Yeah, the general public. V'kal shebekalim, even a rasha, even a kal shebekalim, let's just say, yes. Guess where his neshama is from? Nimshach mimoyach ha'elyon. It's being basically carried out. Nimshach. It's being drawn. Thank you. Shehi chachma ilah. Chachma d'alzel is also called chachma ilah. The high level of chachma. Kaviyachal. Ki mashal aben. Just like the analogy, as we said, from the son hanimshach mimoyach ha'av. The son, that's the mind, comes from the brain of the father. She'afilu tziporni raglov, even the nails of his toes. Nishavu mitipazu mamush. You can't say that the toes of our toenails, that the nails of our toes, is not part of our father. Of course it is. The same thing. Al yedei she'yasa tisha chadashim. How did it become nails? Because it went through 9 months bebet noam, in the mother's womb. V'yarda mimadrega lemadrega. And it took 9 months to go down from one level to another, to become deformed, reformed into nails. Ve'im kol zeh, but the idea is, with all that, it's still connected to its original source, Horisha, the first, tipas moyachav, which was the tipas moyachav. V'gam achshav, even now, beben yenikas atziponayim v'chayusam, this drawn life to the nails of the son, of the child, comes mehamoyak sheberash. Oh, here is the two how do you say rayas? Two proof. He wants, evidence. Evidence. He wants to bring evidence from both places, from Nigla and Nister. So he's going to say that what? That the tzipornei raglav, that the nails is from the moyach. Kedeisa begemara. One is from the Gemara Maseches Nida. It says Lovan is the white. Shemimeno gidim ve'atzamos ve'tziponayim. From the white comes the gidim, the blood vessels. Ve'tziponayim. No, this is Lovan. Lovan. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. No. Lovan from the father. Okay. Lovan shemimeno gidim ve'atzamas ve'tziponayim, with blood vessels, the bones and the tziponayim. And now this is proof from Torah Shebenigla and L'chmoshe Kasu ve'etz chaim shara chashmal. This is another proof from Nigla. Beside levushim of there in Kabbalah, it says levushim shel Adam Rishon. He says the clothing of Adam Rishon was began Eden over there. Where was it from? Shehoyu tziponayim mi bechinas moyach tvuna. So it says that the clothing, so to speak, of Adam Rishon in Gan Eden was made out of nails. Tziponayim from where? Mimoyach tvuna. So it goes to show that nails connected to the brain. V'kacha mamash, and this is exactly how it is. Kaviyachol b'shorish kol hanefesh u'chaneshama shel kol Yisrael. This is exactly how it is in all the source of all of us Yidden. Lemala b'yiridasa mimadrega lemadrega. When it comes down from up on high, from one level to the next, al yedei hishtalshalu su'ilamos, through the chain like what? The links of the chain. Thank you. Going down from level to level. Abia atzilus beriya yitzira asiya michachmoso yizbarech, from his chachma. Kedichsiv, like it says in pasuk, kulam bechachma asisa. Kadosh Baruch Hu made everything. Bechachma is the highest level. Asiya is the last level, as we say, is the lowest level. So we say it's bechachma asisa. This pasuk is trying to tell us kulam bechachma, from chachma to asiya. It's all from him. Nishavu memenu nefesh ruach neshama shel amei haaretz upchusei ha'erech. All the neshamas of the general public of us, of all the Yidden, were all coming from Chachmas Hashem, from Chachmas Yisbarach, ve'im kol zeh, but with that, still, oidenu kshudos umiyuchadis beyichud nifla va'atzum. It's still connected very strongly, b'mahusan ve'atzmusan arishan, with the first source of HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shehi amshachas chachma ilah, which is basically the drawn from the chachma ilah. Ki yenikas v'chayos nefesh ruach neshama shel amei haaretz. He's going to say about this, the gadol of the tzaddikim of the generation, ki yenikas v'chayos nefesh ruach neshama shel amei haaretz, because the drawn life from the am haaretz, from the general public, hu min nefesh ruach neshama shel tzaddikim. It comes from the tzaddikim, v'achachamim rashei b'nei Yisrael shebedayram. It's coming because they are the Rosh. So the Chachamim, the Tzaddikim, they are the Rosh. We are the nails. And they make us aware of who we are, a connection with ourselves, which means Nefesh Elikis, that we should be aware, make it aware that we are part of Hashem. Nefesh Chelek Elikayim Imal Mamash. Good? What time is it? Shall we continue? You can stop over here if you want. Okay, just a little bit. No, we can't. I don't think we can finish, but we definitely can continue here. This is part of this. Oh, another Gemara this is going to talk about right now. Again, all this Torah that we're learning, this is Torah. This isn't like a philosophy of It might also be philosophy, but it's part of Torah that was supposed to be revealed in a certain time. So this isn't new. This isn't, so people will say, oh, wait a second, the Alter Rebbe is saying this, which is not really the Alter Rebbe. The Alter Rebbe just, it's new to us, right? But the Alter Rebbe is not really saying it, it's more elaboration. He's basing it obviously on Kabbalah and everything. But people will say, so before that, people knew that? Yeah. First of all, we just said about the Gemara, about the Pinchas ben Chama's, Darish Pinchas ben Chama, saying that everyone who has a sick person should go to a Chacham. Okay, and then another thing is, the Gemara says, "Uladavka boy," that you have to be davak takadosh baruch Hu. So the Gemara asks, "V'chi yafshar? Can you actually cleave to Hashem? How do you cleave to Hashem?" So what does it say? Kol hadavak b'talmid chacham kilo nidbak b'shchina. Right? This is exactly. So he's going to say this. This isn't new. This is just bringing it out to us in an elaborated way. Ubezeh yuvan, and this we're going to understand. Ma'amad Azal. This is what the Chacham say. Al pasuk. It says a pasuk uladavka boy. It says in the pasuk uladavka boy to cleave to Hashem. Shekol hadavik betalmid chacham. Everyone who cleaves to Talmid chacham, meaning you have a connection to the tzaddik, to the Rebbe. Ma'ale olava kasuv kilo nidbak b'shchina mamish. So the pasuk tells you like you literally cleaving to Hashem, to the Shechina. Kal yidei dvika betalmid chachamim, through cleaving to Talmid chacham, kshurais nefesh ruach and neshama shel amei haaretz. So the nefesh of the general amei haaretz, the general public of Yisrael, umiyuchades b'mahusan arishan v'shasham shebechachma ilah. And it becomes one to the source where it was first. Shehu yizbarech v'chachmaso echad v'hu amada chulu. Just like as we said before, that it's from his Hashem's chachma, and him and his chachma is one, and that's what the pasuk says, l'davka boy, that you have to be davuk to a Talmid chacham. Why? Because then you're going to be davik to the Shechina. How? Because he's the Rosh, and we are one guf. And if it's one guf, and we are the tzipor ragla, we are the nails, and he is the Rosh, and we all from one source, we all have one DNA, he makes us aware, because he has the mind. Makes us aware. The nails, to be aware who we are, truly who we are, who our essence is, what our essence is, which is literally part of Hashem. So how do you do that? So how do you connect to a tzaddik? How do you connect to a rebbe? How do you do all that? Well, many ways to do it, but one of the famous things that, first of all, you follow whatever tzaddik you follow, whatever rebbe you follow his directives. You have to follow his directives. That's for sure. The Rebbe always said this. People used to come to the Rebbe and say, somebody actually came to the Rebbe and said, I want to be a chassid. How do I become a chassid? I think the Rebbe answered him that as long as the next day, you take upon yourself something that you're going to make better from the day before, you're already my chassid. Basically, something to that line, something to that effect. Something like you become a better person, But the main thing is how you connect really is with Torah. The Alter Rebbe wrote this Tanya in the Hakdama. He said, I don't have the time anymore. Remember, the Alter Rebbe, let's go back a little bit in history. You had the Baal Shem Tov, the Maggid Mimezrich. The Maggid Mimezrich, the Baal Tanya was the youngest, one of the youngest Talmidim of the Maggid. And the Maggid, somehow, I don't know if the Maggid gave it to him, or somehow, I think this is how it happened, that the Alter Rebbe had a huge area to cover. He had Lithuania and White Russia, which was very big, and had a lot of Hasidim coming to him. And it came to a point, the Alter Rebbe said, I don't have the privileged time, to sit down with each and every one in Yechidus. Happens to be the Rebbe has the same thing. It was so much Yechidus. Everyone's talking about, in the Rebbe told me in Yechidus, what is Yechidus? Yechidus is in the room with the Rebbe. They didn't have time, so one of the approaches that he did, he started giving out dollars to thousands of people at once. So it's like mini Yechidus. But so the Alter Rebbe said, I don't have the time to sit with each and every one of you. However, it's all here. So people were like, wait a second, what? Oh yeah, a book. Yeah, book. I find you in a book. I can find you in a book. The Alter Rebbe said, yes. First, he said that, okay, obviously, I know you from before, and I know your problems and your issues, and everything is here. And if you can't find it here, go to someone like a mashpia or a chassid, an older chassid. He'll explain to you the way you see it. But the Hasidim say they take it as, even if he didn't know you, even now, you want to connect to a tzaddik, you learn what he taught. And again, what he taught isn't chaz v'sholem his own Torah. It's all Torah Messinai. It's just there's certain times where certain things are allowed to be revealed, and certain things are not allowed and are not meant to be revealed. So this is how you connect. So how do you connect with this? So how do we do that? So going back to the whole concept of the whole Perek base of the Tanya, it's very simple. Our neshama and every single neshama, doesn't matter if he's a Rasha, doesn't matter if he's whatever. You see this? A Litvish, Chassidish, Sfardish, doesn't matter. Shkanezish, doesn't matter. Nefesh Elokeis Mamish. He has literally, think about his neshama. You don't think about him as the goof and what he did. You see another Yid, you know the Chelek Elokai. Wow. That's one. Number two, we're obviously one. We're Koima Achas. We're one Koima. We have the Rosh, yeah. But it's not by choice that I am a nail of a finger of my toenails. I'm not by choice. Hashem made me this way. But where I am, that's where I need to use my time and effort and to be proper the way I am. A toenail needs to be a proper toenail. To be a healthy, proper toenail. The Rosh has to be a Rosh. It's not one better than the next. It's just how it's meant to be. We just have to use it the right way. And that's the whole idea of the Perek base. That we're Chelek Elokeinu Mamash. We're Koima Achas. We're the toenails. We may be the toenails. No, not a big deal. We know how to connect. We connect to the tzaddik. We follow his directions. We learn his Torah that he teaches. And with that, we become connected to HaKadosh Baruch Hu as more as like connected to ourselves, to our inner essence of who we truly are, which we are part of Hashem. So we're going to finish this with Hashem next week.